Hello and welcome to session 28 of Primordial Harmony, a modified run-through Princes of the Apocalypse, which is a Wizards of the Coast module. I'm your DM, Mike, and tonight I'm joined by...
I'm Nyx. I play Alaria, who she is a Wood Elf Ranger with her pet companion, Valora, who's a panther.
I am Senna, and I'm playing Delia, the Gnome Wizard.
And I am Kitties, and I am playing the Gnome Bard, Hump.
Hey, my name is Miles. I'm playing Tadias Adanoff, a Awesomer Seeker.
I am Zaffin, and I'm playing Zachary Vitalis, Fire Genasi Shovel Knight.
Alright. Fire Genasi Shovel Knight. So, when we last left the excavators, the strange moaning dust intrigued our heroes so much that they decided to follow it through the monastery. They explored unopened rooms off the dusty trail and found a bit of treasure. But, finally, the trail led back into the temple, where the party fought Helenray and Quarbo, and the trail led down the steps into the tunnels beneath. After putting down the poor, mutilated Umber Hulk, the trail ended up leading back to the portcullis. The party called upon Renwick for help after investigating the door further to no avail, who found the portcullis was enchanted with some sort of primordial earth magic. Using some of his immense power, he dispelled the enchantment on the portcullis. Tadias and Zachriel with the help of Tadias and Zachriel lifting the heavy bars, the party descended to the stairs to the depths below. They found a tunnel with minecart tracks, which seemed to lead on for a long time, more than a mile. With Tadias still under the lycanthropic curse, the party decided to spend the night before leaving, and ultimately leaving the underground tunnel, leaving the monastery to face the sentry that awaited them outside. In the morning, after intense deliberation and attempts to flush out the burrow shark, the party ended up being forced, perhaps minecart tracked, to fighting not only the burrow shark and his bullet mount, but several earth cultist monks, all focused on attacking Delia. The party was victorious, and we returned to them, with poor Valora encased in earth, and a few of them freshly wounded. And there you are.
Didn't we heal Valora?
I don't know, did you?
Not yet.
I thought she was healed for like 1 or something.
She's stable? Let me reread the item. It's either stable or at 1 hit point and unconscious. Yeah. She is stabilized at 0 HP.
You might want to help her.
I'm on it.
I'm just kind of by her, just saying, come back to me.
Hey, Mike, add Joy.
Sure.
So, Hum takes Delia's shoulder and pulls herself up and says, let's take care of Valora, and runs over and can she cast Cure Wounds through the...
Can who cast Cure Wounds?
Can I cast Cure Wounds? Yes.
If you have the spell slots for it, yeah. So Valora pops back up, the stone encasing her sort of turns to dust, and she wakes up and gets to her feet, shakes her head, and just kind of looks at Illyria, like, I'm good now.
Oh, you scared me, you silly kitty. Thank you, Hum. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, where are we headed now?
Well, as far as I can tell, it's likely that this was the last of them. We should still be vigilant, but we might want to get those people to the village.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Agreed.
So,
I stay really close to Delia.
okay. So you guys, you go back in and you grab all of the now freed individuals from Orboro and some from Forthstride, and you begin walking with them down the mountain trail. With
Oh, did we check for anything on the body?
not that I remember.
Can we do that real fast?
Absolutely.
Pick
So
up his spear. That's all I know.
you grabbed his spear. Oops, not the right one. Altogether from the monks, they each have a single gold piece on them.
Ooh, big spend.
And I'm only saying that because I rolled 6. And then on the burrow shark, along with his spear and the earth and armor that is now dust, you kind of mill about his undergarments in his person, find a pouch, and you find 10 gold.
High roller, that one over there.
No kidding. Hum tucks it away with the rest of the money from the...
Oh, speaking of, I need to check on something.
Weight calculations.
Yeah, I'm not streaming, so I can just edit this out. I'm very curious now.
How much gold? How much do they?
50 gold pieces weighs a pound, I think. So let me see the connage.
There is quite a bit.
I need to make a blank character sheet and put the money in it real quick.
I can put it on my sheet really quick.
Too late, I'm already done it.
Are all of the pieces equal weight, just of different materials?
I don't actually know off the top of my head, so I'm just going to rely on the sheet to calculate it for me.
Interesting.
Silver. See, the all that silver is, yeah.
Yeah, the silver is the one I'm looking at.
But if I'm right... Oh wait, that's Electrum. You have 90 Electrum.
Yep.
And I just put it in the wrong field. Well, altogether, all those coins are 25 pounds. So, if... How much is... Oh, let me look at home sheet right now.
I'm at 75 right now.
And your strength score is 8. And
boy.
8 times 15
That's
is...
enough.
Okay, you can still carry it.
Yep.
Alright, we're good. Just has like this big sack of coins in her pack.
You're practically just carrying groceries and money.
I'm the pack gnome.
I might rule that it'll affect your stealth in the future, though, because jingle jangle.
I think that we may.
What I'm hearing is we get to spend some money.
That's what I'm hearing too. I think we might need to get some stuff.
Shopping
And a few
episode.
things.
Let's all go
Perhaps
shopping.
a party?
I'm down with the party.
All right. Well, so you guys start.
Today carry 300 and I carry 270. So
Yeah, there's no want for carry capacity unless I dick out and do variant, but I'm not doing that. So, you guys start heading down the mountain trail with the group of people behind you, and Renwick. You see Renwick kind of like wait at the entrance before, or he waits until all of the individuals that you saved have already exited, and then he takes a look back inside the monastery, and then he starts holding up the rear. So he's all the way behind. So he's alone back there unless any of you go with him.
Oh, I am.
All right.
And where Delia goes, so goes Hum.
Okay. So then Tadias too, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You're okay. So that means it's Nyx and not Nyx, Nyx, but Illyria and Zachariel in the front, I assume. Marching order.
That's good muscle.
Okay. Were you gonna say something, Miles?
What?
Were you gonna say something?
No, you
So you continue down the mountain trail. It's a hike just because this place is so out of the way. It's going to take a couple hours and a rough... Yeah. So, loops and...
Hum's gonna start asking questions.
Okay. Go for it.
So she looks up at him and she says, "So what happened?"
What do you mean? You're talking to Renwick, right?
Yes.
Okay. He asked you...
Oh wait, it's Renwick. It's not
Renwick's
the
not-
guard guy.
Oh, you're talking to Aspen.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So you get his attention and he comes to the rear and you ask him what happened, and he goes into this explanation that matches Derek's pretty well about how strange sort of individuals had been... He actually adds a little more detail. He says that a few 10 days before it all happened, or not a few 10 days, like a couple of 10 days before it all happened, strange individuals had sort of been showing up, asking for work, and, doing work. And he noticed that they started talking to some of the guardsmen, getting very schmoozy with them. And he didn't think much of it. He was just thinking that, they're just making conversation. And then that fateful day came where this force of cultists came into town. And the force that he thought he commanded, half of them turned on him. They kidnapped him, a couple others, and then killed the rest. And then they were taken up to the monastery.
Wow.
And he sort of continues. So you can imagine it was, well, harrowing.
Absolutely. You must have been scared. For your
Shrugs.
city, I mean.
Then he nods when you change it to that, and he says, "Oh yes, I can't imagine what they've gone through." As your foot falls through the sandy mountain trail.
If we ever run into a cult again, we need to have them have bases in this city. I'm tired of marching and going over boats through fog. It's irritating.
I mean, what would be that cult then? I mean, we had the Crushing Wave and the Divine Mountain.
Can I get the cult of personality? That would be fun. Let's do that.
Color me intrigued.
Hey, you don't happen to know what day it is, do you?
I was thinking about that too.
The last evening, it was a scroll. It was a new moon yesterday evening. We are now on the 13th of Myrtle.
So 6 days away or 5 days away?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days away. So you can probably get back to Forthstride in time.
I don't know what day it is, Dias, but do you feel like rolling around in mud today? Or?
No more than any other day.
He's not
Unfortunately.
smelling. He's not smelling quite like bacon yet.
Getting there, though.
Ha ha ha. I walk a little further ahead of him.
You say, I imagine this conversation.
Delia, is that a tail? Do you see a little squiggly tail coming out from behind Tadias?
I'm gonna use the minor illusion cantrip and make a little tail come out of Tadias' back.
I pretend to ignore it and my shoulders just kind of go up. You can see I'm uncomfortable.
People that are with you, like, they don't know exactly what you're talking about, but then they see the tail and there's, like, these giggles. You hear people laughing. As
We
you guys
love you, Tadias.
sort of take a break, everyone's kind of, like, tired. You like, Aspen sort of asked to, like, take, 5-minute breather, because everyone is so, emaciated and tired. Also, that's how you're having this conversation, since Zachriel's in the front.
That works.
So then you gear up and you continue your way down. It's about 10 a.m. in the morning. About a half hour later, Zachriel and Illyria, please make a perception check. Illyria, Zachriel is distracted by something.
Thinking about bacon.
Thinking about bacon.
It's been a while since we've had some bacon.
It's been a while since you've had some bacon. And actually, you can roll for Valora too, just for flavor. I mean, you noticed what I'm about to tell you, but okay. So Valora's probably also thinking about bacon.
Bacon too.
Zachariel and Valora are chasing lightning bugs or something.
And Illyria, you see a small bug zip past you and go down the line. And then Tadias, you see Udarnik, just like on your shoulder. Bzz, 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 bzz.
No, boy.
Oh shit, that's not good.
I put him in the zone. We have to be careful. Should we put them in the mines and investigate, or should we bring them with?
I worry about leaving them in the mines. I mean, what if there's another bullet? It'll kill them all. It almost killed
Right.
me.
Then it's probably safer to bring them with. But be prepared.
Aspen's kind of like listening in on this conversation. He says, "What's going on?"
Your son is giving us a warning.
He looks kind of confused because he didn't really notice the dragonfly. You can tell he does not know what you mean. In like he opens his mouth about to say like, "Well, what are you talking about?"
It's we have a messaging system. I received a message from him.
Oh, and go on.
Now, if you would mind, I kind of like grab his shoulder. I'm going to be a little bit hard of hearing and sight for a while. Just if I start walking the wrong way, lead me a little bit.
All right.
And I summon you, Darnik, and I kind of mentally think up the image of going back to Orbero and giving me some eyes on this thing and send him off.
All right. He zips off. And Delia, you kind of notice that Renwick is also like he's disguised right now. He looks like a everyday human.
Mhm.
And he has like this expression of like he just kind of has like his eyebrow is furrowed and he's frowning. Tadias, about let's see, dragonflies are fast, so I would say in about 40 minutes or so, Udarnik returns to the town of Orborough, and he comes upon a sight of this creature in the middle of town. It's not moving. It's in the center of town. It's sort of like on the ground, and surrounding it are a bunch of townsfolk with spears, led by Ranharo, and they're sort of prodding at it, and it looks like they're making sure that it's dead. And this thing looks like this. Let me pull up a handout for you.
Oh,
Crap. What's this thing called? Oh, yeah. Handout. Looks like that.
There's just one of them?
There's one of them in the center of town, and it's like obviously dead. It has like what looks like its chitin hide is like cracked open, and you can see, or Udarnik like kind of like gets a sort of view around, and you can see several townsfolk are being like they're on the porch of the tavern. They're being bandaged up and being led inside. Looks like they're hurt. You also see like this pool on the ground of liquid. You aren't exactly sure what that is. And you hear Ranharo sort of taking charge. He's telling people to get eyes on certain parts of the town and making sure to be prepared if another one comes back. Him and another individual start setting up shifts, watch shifts. And so this is all happening. Do you say anything?
What I'd like to first do is make a check to see if I can identify the creature.
Sure. Roll nature.
Nature. I don't think so.
You weren't exactly sure what this thing is, other than it looks like a giant insect.
Alright, I'll pop Udarnik back into the pocket. I'll look over to the party and say, "There's a large bug."
Wait a second. Just as you do that, you see, like, just as you, like, make that command, you see another one just pop out of the ground a few yards away from it.
It's not the cultists. There is a creature in town. Insects, large. Seem to be leaking something. They killed the first one, but there's more of them coming.
Aspen just kind of,
You know what
Ankhags.
these are?
They're Ankhags. They're these giant insectoid creatures.
I hate
There's at
bugs.
least 2 in town. One has been dealt with, the other one just appeared.
Oh, shit. He says, they haven't bothered us in quite a while. I suppose the system we had in place to deal with them is sort of chipped away. We better hurry.
Alright. In a little conversation time, do we have enough time for a short rest, or are we still rocking what we got?
It's up to you guys if you want to spend an hour or not.
How are we doing?
Oh, that conversation time.
Because we were doing that while stationary, thanks to,
It is... I feel like I shouldn't give it to you because you didn't say you were doing it. But you didn't really define a time.
Could we add like another 30 minutes to it then and call it a short rest?
Do you want to break now? Like, do you want to stop the group of people and sit down and finish a short rest?
What do you think?
I mean, these people are
I say we just
exhausted.
go. Of all bugs, can't be that big of a deal.
I look at, the gnome that was squashed just a second ago. Yes, but you weren't especially flattened recently.
Yes.
Do we have any idea of what these things can do?
So Aspen says, he starts to explain that these things, like, they have sharp claws, they have mandibles, they grab prey, bring them close, bite them. They also have a spray that coats prey in a corrosive liquid.
Ooh, sprays are not good. Maybe we should rest.
While we rest, the
How far
defenseless,
does it
unarmored
spray?
civilians will be sprayed by us.
How far out are you guys? You guys are about 2.5 miles out.
So about an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah, if we're about an hour away, we might have to just go. Delia, you'll stay with me. I'll make sure you're safe. I'll be, I don't know, some sort of pork-based bait.
Bacon?
If you'd like. This bacon flies, though, and I'm sure I can get some attention.
True enough. Yes, let's just go.
All right.
Do
Gotta
it.
save the people.
All right, so you guys start hoofing it. Continue to hoof it. Some hushed, or not hushed, some sort of, worried whispers kind of spread through the group of people. Because they're not all guardsmen. They're men and women, and people who aren't. There are people who, they're not fighting people. They are normal townsfolk, either miners on their own or some other job. So you guys get there, and you can see. Oh yes. I have flavor text for this. As you descend the hill, you can see the large insectoid-like creature within the metal palisade of Orboro, the one I described and showed you the handout of before. You can see several men engaging it with spears. And as you get near, the north gate appears to be opening in the same fashion, the same slow fashion that you remember. So you guys get to the bottom. The gate, finishes opening enough to where you can squeeze inside, and I assume you're all kind of in the front at this point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you guys get there, as soon as you reach in, you see Ranharo, and he looks like he has it very under control. As when you enter, you see him just jam his spear into the head of this thing, and it kind of just squeals out and just falls down. And he kind of just looks over to see you guys, and he has this exasperated look on his face.
I kinda
Perfect
whisper to
timing.
Zachariah, it's a good thing we left him.
You see several other fighting men with him. And then he kind of pulls out his spear, and this just nasty ichor just kind of oozes out. And then he just kind of wraps the thing onto the creature's head, boom, boom, boom. And then he says, "All clear!" And people start coming out of the tavern and the warehouse, and some people just dash over to their home. Some people just kind of stare at this site, and he kind of he doesn't kind of he looks over and he waves at you guys. He has this kind of exasperated check out what I've been dealing with kind of expression.
I go to Aspen and I say, what are your protections from these things?
He says, what we did was we dug bores under the town. Although that's what he would say, but he sees his son, and you see like he kind of ignores your question, and he like is looking like at Ranharo, and Ranharo looks at him, and they just kind of like approach each other, give each other a big hug, and like they just kind of stay that way for a second, and then Aspen puts his hand on Ranharo's shoulder, got this big proud smile on his head or his face. And he looks over his shoulder and he says, "One moment." And they kind of just like share this father-son reuniting moment. And then he walks over with him, and he says, Aspen says, "Well, a few years back we bored tunnels under small tunnels." He kind of like lifts up his hand, and he has like his forefinger and thumb pressed together, and he says, "Tunnels about this wide in a lattice around the town, and then we poured molten iron into it. But it must have just rusted and returned to the earth, so to speak."
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Ranharo wipes his brow. He says, This morning the Ankegs started showing up, digging into town from the ground. We've taken out 3 so far, including that one. But we're getting tired. I don't know if..." And then you hear a rumbling sound, which I wish I'd cued better. Yeah, there we go. You hear the rumble sound, and it's like right under your feet. And I'm gonna drag you to the page and have you roll initiative in a second. Let me make sure that the recording is good. So there's people.
We can't lose.
What was that?
We got a list. We can't lose. Bring it.
So coming out from the ground, these 3 Anghegs show up. Roll initiative. While I get their sheet up. Oh, jeez, I'm sorry. Today's weird.
Would I still have mage armor from earlier?
Lasts 8 hours? Yeah, you still have it. Oh, I'm just dyslexic. I've been spelling guard as G-A-U instead of G-U-A. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That'll do it.
That will do it. I'm gonna edit out all the dead space in the video.
Well, our fan is in the room.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna do it just for my own sake.
I just wanted to welcome Joy to the room, that's all.
Hi, Joy.
Before we start fighting these things, can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
These two over here, do they look like warriors or soldiers of some sort?
No, they look like common folk. They're just sort of there, staring down and then having a conversation, and this thing just in front of them. Yeah, I'll describe this for sure.
Well, I know where I'm going.
Did I get all of them? Oh, nice. Okay. Good for you. Alright. Oh, and like within this area, go ahead and like place your tokens where you think you would actually be. You can go ahead and do that.
I was talking to Zach.
Alright,
You wouldn't be next to your boo there, Delia?
I mean, I wouldn't want to like freak him out or anything. You got to be subtle with your flirtations.
She even creeped as she had her token creep on.
Amazing. Alright. So this thing bursts out of the ground. This one here bursts out of the ground. And he just kind of lets out this insectoid squeal. And he looks around. And he sees those two individuals that are like getting water. But then he looks toward Zachriel and Tadias. And he kind of just like walks over here. And Aspen's in this line too. Oh no.
Yeah.
So he is going to make a... You see, he, from his mandibles, this spray of this clear but fuming liquid just rockets over Zachriel, Tadias, and Aspen. And I need Zachriel and Tadias to make me a dex save.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
If I use my reaction to raise my shield for that, will that help Aspen
Yeah, sure.
with my shieldness?
I'll let you do that. So, it was a pretty slow roll, too. So, Tadias, you take 8 damage. Zachriel, you take 4. And I'm going to roll his... he is dexterous, despite... Well, not that dexterous. Alright, so he fails, so he is going to take all that. And it just sort of lands right on his skin, but you block enough of it to where it just kind of like lands on his arm and shoulders. He raises his hands, and he screams. And he, on his turn, he will probably retreat, but it's not his turn. Tadias, now it's your turn.
Alright, I think I'm gonna action to wing out. So, big spectral, those 2 wings are gonna pop on my back. I'm gonna fly in and cut this guy off. Bonus action, I guess I will drop the balls.
Okay.
And that'll be my turn.
Alright. You can draw that area of effect, or you can drag it over.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would have to drag it over because it's still fucked up.
It's just 10 feet, so it's just the square that he's pretty much in.
Okay. Alright, so, yeah. Alright, so this one is going to rush to your aid, and he's going to lay into the thing. But he can't seem to pierce the hide from the angle as the Ankeg, like, tries to get its footing, and we'll see if it manages to or not. Delia.
Okay, I'm going to
Wait, did
step over here. And I will send 3 scorching rays at this one.
That one? This one?
This one.
Okay, that's a hit. That is a hit. That is a hit. Wow, good job.
Ouch.
And then use my bonus action to use a charge for Blade Ward.
Alright. So, because I forgot to roll for Renwick, he's going to act now. And he is going to... Where did it go? Oh. Alright. Alright, so he sees that... He sees the same problem that Tadias sees. On the south side of the battle map. And you see him point his finger at the one that just, like, erupted between the two townsfolk. And you can just sort of... Delia, you can see this easily. There's this sort of concussiveness, this concussive air appearance that you know is actually him manipulating the weave. And the Ankeg needs to make a save. Unsurprisingly, it fails. So you see it sort of lock in place and not moving. And that is his turn. Delia gets starry-eyed. Love it. So now this guard will act. This guard is going to get over here and kind of shoulder past Delia and get to beside Renwick, but is targeting the Ankeg. He hits, and he goes for some of the charred chitin or chitin, and he pierces through, and the thing screeches out, and it looks like blood starts to flow out of it, but you can tell the thing has a little bit of fight left in him. That's his turn. Zachriel.
Okay, well, since I don't know magic and I don't know what Renwick did, we'll use my action. Dash down here.
Alright.
Towards the two civilians that I think are in danger.
Yeah.
Alright.
You can tell that this thing, like, isn't now, like, suddenly it stopped moving. But, you kind of only get that when you get down there, I
First
figure.
time seeing these creatures, so I don't know what they're about.
Fair enough. You have advantage on this attack roll.
I use my action to dash.
Oh, you're not action surging? Okay.
I don't have action surge. I used it on the...
Ah, got it. Sessions. Alright, Illyria.
Okay, I'm gonna send Valora to take cover.
Alright.
And I'm going to pop him.
Alright. That is a miss. As a kind of like...
Pop him again.
Unfortunately, that is also a miss. It seems to just...
I'm gonna move myself too.
Alright.
Kind of take cover.
Alright. These people looking up at the creature, they scurry away as fast as they can, and they go into the tavern, which is this building here. These guys just also start running for cover. And it is now this one's turn. So, ball bearings, describe that to me again. How does that work?
It's only if they move, so he's good for right now.
Okay, so he's
Yeah,
not...
when he moves, he makes a DC 10 saving throw, dexterity.
Alright, so he is going to attack you, Tadias.
Mm-hmm.
$15.
Miss.
Miss. Alright. That's his action. Ranharo is going to run up and try to lay into this guy. He hits, but it doesn't seem to pierce its chitin hide. It's your turn.
So I'm just gonna take a step over and aim at this one here and shoot with her.
All right.
Let me peek it here.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
And she's gonna use her second.
It lands right in the creature's eye, and it screams for a second, and then it's cut off as that was a good crit too, as the arrow pierces its brain.
Okay, she's done.
This guard, knowing that that's all over with, shoulders through here, and gets to here. Actually, he's gonna just dash, so gets to here, and that's his turn. This one, Zachariel, you're looking at this thing, and he seems to just be jittering a little bit. And we'll see if he can get out. You see him held fast by this thing.
Okay.
On Renwick's turn, he is going to just sort of step over here. He looks at the Ankeg on the ball bearings, and he is going to point his finger at it. And you hear like a really nasty pop sound. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. You hear this really nasty pop sound, and it looks like his shell sort of implodes a little bit. And you see just like in the links of his chitin, like you see the ooze just kind of start oozing out as it just kind of... And that's his turn. That Ankeg is dead. Tadias, what are you doing?
I'm going to roll to this side over here, and then I'm going to cut at him with... I haven't used the hand axe. Let's go with that.
Alright. That is a hit.
Plus the flanking. Yeah. And we will add
Describe
6
killing.
damage. So I'm just going to slide over, and I'm going to cut off the back rear legs and have it just all over to the side.
Alright.
So that's 1, 2 movement, so I still have 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to chuck the hand axe at this one.
You have advantage.
Alright.
That's a hit.
12 damage.
Solid.
And then as a bonus action, I will attack again with Resi. Seeker stuff.
Alright.
So I'm going to exploit the opening.
That's a hit.
And I get to add a D8 to that. So, bah.
Alright.
So just throws those in there, whip back to me, and I'm just saying, Zachary, I'll get him!
Alright, this guard is going to advance over here. Actually, he's just going to dash up to here with his spear. That's all he can do. Delia.
Okay, I'm gonna come up here. And I'm gonna send some more scorching rays at this guy over here.
You have advantage. That's a hit. That's... you kill. So, Zachary, you see these bolts of flame just warp around you and slam into this thing. And burn out its internal workings, and it just slumps to the ground. Dead.
I hate bugs.
Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire.
She did.
Alright, we're out of initiative.
I drop to the ground and listen. If I hear any rumbling, feel any rumbling?
You do not hear or feel any rumbling at this moment.
Well, I got the wings. I'm gonna fly up and see if I see anything on the outskirts, like more of them,
All right.
or a nesty kind of area.
Yeah. You look around and you're pretty satisfied that you can't see any of them.
So they are completely subterranean. Perfect. Fly
You
up.
look at the spots where they popped out of the ground, and you can see very collapsed tunnels.
Do we see any rust?
Roll investigation.
What are we investigating?
Hum wants to know if she sees dust or rust.
Oh, rust. Oh,
So looking through these tunnels, Actually, okay. So you rolled that. Now roll nature.
ooh.
Okay, so you you know a little bit about soils. You've spoken to enough people in your tenure as a performer to know something about soil, and you kind of run your hands through it, and you get the impression that they might have brought some rust up with them from the lattice structure that Aspen was talking about before. But you aren't really sure.
I don't know. Looks a little strange.
Delia, you see Renwick just kind of, his shoulders like relax, and he kind of just takes a more relaxed position.
I'm gonna offer him a high five.
He smiles and he accepts. And when you high five him, you feel like his, not like a fleshy hand like you see him have, but that bony.
That is a-okay with me.
All right.
I walk up and kind of push over the body here and start picking up my bedding. Yeah, he was overestimating them.
Takes you a little while, but you manage to get all your stuff. And
An angel picking up silver balls in a town. Perfect.
I mean, after the 10th, your wings disappear.
Yeah.
I'll help them get his ball bearing.
Help him get his balls back.
Yeah.
My bearing.
So Renharo starts to tend to his dad, who actually, like, at this point is now at the well and like drawing water and washing off the acid on his shoulder and hands. It looks pretty nasty too. He says I'll have a talk with Yidith and see if we can't reconstruct that lattice. It'll be a big project, but it'll probably be worth it. I'm surprised too. These creatures don't normally, or for a while, they haven't shown up in the mines either. That used to be a big problem, and it went away for about 2 years, and now they're suddenly back. I don't like it. He like
Do they
moans and
always
groans.
check in packs like this?
Some do, some don't. It's hard to tell. And then he looks at Renwick and says, actually, no, he doesn't notice. He just looks at Renwick and gives him a nod, and then walks over. Renwick gives Delia like this knowing look.
So, I mean, what do you think could have happened to these things to get them all riled up? I'm just asking the people at large.
Oh, I'm dunking my head in the lake real quick. I got some acid on me too.
Yeah. Aspen just doesn't seem to have an answer, neither does Renharo.
Didn't you hear their underground metal pie is busted? Slip back there and walk over.
Well, I imagine whatever work the cult was doing inside the mountain, and it probably has stirred up the creatures surrounding the area.
Do you
Correct
think
me if I'm mistaken, Aspen. I guess I'll walk back over. The underside of that monastery wasn't always like that.
He says, well, to be honest with you, none of us really went there before. It's so far out of the way that it's hardly worth establishing something there.
Do you have the men necessary to defend this town while the lattice is being created?
If we, with everyone you've saved, and perhaps, he kind of like strokes his chin, looks at Ranharo, perhaps if we hire some way shields while we're working on the lattice, and Renwick kind of goes up to Aspen, and he places the back of his hand on Aspen's shoulder, which is clothed, and then he says, you know, I came from Forthstride, and they kidnapped me as well. They held me somewhere else. I can probably help with the defense of the town. And then he says, look up. And then Aspen like looks up, and then he casts Fireball in the sky. And Aspen just has like wide eyes. He says, oh, you're a mage. And he goes to pat his shoulder, and you see Renwick kind of like his disguised human eyes go a little wide, and he you see him quickly make a gesture, and then when Aspen pats his shoulder, it looks like and it sounds like it would if it was a regular person's shoulder. And you see like this short, brief look of relief in Renwick's eyes as Aspen goes on to say, "Oh, your help will be very appreciated." And Renwick says, yes, I'm glad to help."
How long will it take you to rebuild?
The lattice?
Yes.
Well, like I said, I need to speak with Yedith. The boars should still be... Well, no, they're probably collapsed by now. He starts to, like, think. He says, the project took us about a 10-day the last time. We're gonna need men. He looks at the party and says, are you planning to travel back to Forthstride?
Yes.
Can you deliver a message to the head of the Way Shields?
I puff out my chest a little.
And then he notices your brown badge, and he says, "Oh, can you request some Way Shields sent our way? We can pay in trade
Will be done.
till we get enough gold to satisfy a contract." He says,
No worries. Once I brief Gordon on what's gone on here, I'm sure he'll be fine with sending people.
Ranharo says, it's sad. It's unfortunate that this had to happen after that delivery. He says, a small trade caravan from Riverend stopped by yesterday. We've got plenty of flour now, and we got some rice wine. Plenty of booze in the tavern.
Did someone say booze?
It's a good way to get way shields here.
Agreed.
Yeah, but somebody said there was booze.
Yes,
The man just said there was booze, yes.
Ranharo just smiles. He says, I'm sure Crad told me that there's plenty, many barrels of it. We traded a lot of ore that had been disorganized because of the cult.
You know, perhaps someone should go test that ooze just to make sure that it's, not poisoned or anything.
I was thinking that Tadias and I could handle this, if just to make sure it's still good.
It's within my expertise.
I speak up after me. And then I head towards the bar.
Okay. So, by now it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Perfect drinking time.
So what's your plan? You guys are just gonna hang around in town, spend the night?
I want to ask Aspen about, like, if I could purchase some gemstones from them and, like, crystals and stuff.
So, he expresses that, actually, he doesn't really know, because he hasn't been here. He doesn't know what the inventory is. He kind of directs you to Ranharo, who, says that, well, we haven't been mining since we got back. We are all taking a sort of break. He kind of looks, he has, like, this apologetic look. He says, and if you remember, the cult had taken all of the gems back with them.
Well, that's okay.
Sorry.
Delia, there's alcohol. You don't need gemstones. Alcohol. Come on.
I'll follow, huh?
Say, Aspen,
Yes.
perhaps we could get together and break down these creatures. They could be used for weapons and armor, at the very least, for what remains of your god.
He nods and he kind of like looks at the leg part of some of them. He says, those would make decent greaves, probably. And Yidith will be hard at work getting the ore and smelted and ready to be poured into the lattice structure. Yes, I think that's a good idea. As he's sort of like making sure that his shoulder doesn't rub his clothes. Man, I need to...
Sorry about that. I tried to block it, but
He says, no, don't worry about it. I saw what you did, and it's just there was a massive cloud of it. You couldn't help it. Those things have caused a lot of death a few years ago.
is there, you ever found a way to track them? Perhaps they have a nest. If you kill them all, maybe they don't come back.
He says there's no real good way to do it. They burrow underground, and following the burrow just sort of collapses into the earth. The trail goes cold. At least for a shovel.
Well,
He points to yours as if to say, like that one.
I can be quite sure there's no shovel like this one.
He kind of just blinks at that, and it seems like he doesn't exactly know what to say. He says, well, come help me with this, and he kind of sets down, and he says, Ranharo, give me your spear.
When he looks at the shovel, I just tap it on the ground and mold the earth into a pit.
And sees that, blinks, and says, oh, you're a mage too.
No. Nope. Don't understand magic at all. I can shoot fire out of my hands.
But, oh, yes.
Shovel did it. Like I said, very unique shovel.
I see. He looks at it and says, mind if I take a look?
Sure. Hand of it.
He kind of tries to do the same thing you did, but it doesn't work. He says, that's strange, it's not working for me. Are you sure you're not a mage?
Well, he's temperamental.
He's holding the shovel. He's holding Sunyu Spade, and when you say he's temperamental, he he looks taken aback, and then he looks at the shovel, and then he looks at you, and he says, why don't you take this back?
Just think about the cultists and what they did to your people. while you hold me.
And he like as he's extending his arm to give it back to you, he sort of does that involuntarily, and then he just blinks more. You take the shovel,
All right.
and then he kind of like rubs his head, like he's internally saying, "That's the strangest thing I've felt today." And then Renharo comes back with some tools, and they start breaking up the ankeg, kind of like how you would try to break apart a crab if you're eating crab.
I help them.
Okay.
As I'm skilled in survival.
Got it. So, there's no time pressure, so you guys start whittling it away. You can actually, why don't you make a check, just for...
Oh boy.
Just to see how... Well, you
7
kind
hours
of...
later.
You guys... No, you guys kind of ruin one. Like, just turn it into mush before you kind of, like, get a hang of how to separate this thing. And then, halfway through the other one, Renharo gets the bright idea of cooking these things to make the shells come off easier. And late into the night, they start cooking them like crabs, and they're roasting them, pulling them apart, and weirdly enough, it doesn't smell that bad. So, anything else you guys are doing today? Any other plans?
Has gone to the bar and she is, drinking rice wine.
All right.
Drinking rest.
Okay. So, Zachary, you feel like you could probably make something out of this, cooking-wise.
Yeah, I just kind of like take some of the. I'm gonna take some of the like. Obviously, they're not gonna use the meat and stuff or whatever, the sinew or armor. So I'm just gonna take some of it and just like put a pot on the fire while they're melting the skin off, the chitin off.
Yeah.
And just start adding some spices and stuff and cooking up. I'm gonna try.
Bunch of
Break
people.
out the Primordial cookbook.
Yeah. You find a page on you find a page on like shellfish, on like bottom feeder kind of thing. And it looks like it's for like this bottom feeder that like you see a picture of it, and it looks like it's surrounded by molten lava. And you think to yourself, how can this thing survive? But it has like detailed instructions on how to cook it properly, even though it's already hot. And roll cooking tools with wisdom.
Alright.
So, you describe what you make and make it sound delicious, because it's delicious.
Oh god.
People like start smelling. People like start smelling this, and like they start coming around, and the like random person is just like, "Hey, what are you cooking there?"
Runs out of glass of the rice wine.
I'm sorry, what did you say, kitties?
Brought him some rice wine.
Ah, you smell it too, and it smells like, for some reason, it smells really good.
What you cooking, Zach?
Ankeg gumbo.
Ooh.
Title of the episode.
Are you adding some of your genasi spices to it?
Absolutely.
I can't wait for my face to melt off.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to start researching different food dishes.
Sweet. So, I mean, I assume you offer it to somebody?
Oh yeah, anyone who dares to try.
So, you get a line. People with bowls asking for some of your Ankeg gumbo. And, soon enough, Crad, the tavern owner, comes by, and he says, can you tell me how you made that? I want to know. I want to cook it here. If we're going to be
sure.
killing these things.
Do you have any parchment on you?
He says, I'll be right back. He comes and he has, like, you know, he has a notebook, and he kind of starts writing down what you did.
So I'll just read off, like, the way that it says to cook this weird lava fish, but I'll leave out the obvious ingredients that you cannot find here.
Yeah.
I know some of these recipes have, like, mangoes. Who's ever seen a mango?
He says, all right, got it. I'll see if I can get some stuff from Forthstride, and maybe we'll make a little business out of this. More than just bread and goat meat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm more of an amateur cook, but I'd be happy to show you some of the other things I've come up with.
Grins, and he says, I'm the only cook here. I'd love to hear more about different dishes from different places. So he just starts talking with you about, you know, what your experience is and stuff. The night
Well, we lost Gabriel for tonight.
The night kind of draws on.
Delia is going to spend some time and copy Snylock's Snowball Storm and Maximilian's Earthen Grasp into her spellbook.
Okie dokie. Those are like 5 hours each. Not each. They're like 5 hours altogether. You have enough time.
6 hours.
You have enough time. Okay. You guys have... It doesn't seem like any more show up today as you guys party, drinking Weisswein and eating insect gumbo.
Pulls out her loot and plays for everybody too.
Roll performance. Actually, I need tavern music now.
I rolled the natural one.
Oh, it's still good though. Like, it's still
Well,
extremely
seeing that
good.
She's really hurt,
Yeah.
you know.
You know how she got hurt.
And a little drunk.
Yeah. Alright. So anything else, you guys? Or do you want to have any more scenes?
I'm good.
Okay. The night...
Oh, I bring like... Who all is out in this, like, tasting my food?
So, you're outside still, right? You're, like, near the well?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're out near the well.
Are the drow there?
When it gets late into the evening, yeah, they come by. They, the smell kind of wafts over to the barn, and, they kind of... Because it's something that they've never had before, and they, start walking over, and, kind of meekly, some people kind of give them looks, but they kind of approach you, and they say, What are you cooking there?
I call it Ankeg Gumbo. Please, try it.
They,
I must warn you, I'm not the best cook around, but I try.
They both have bowls, and you ladle them a bowl each, and they're just delighted by it. Lots of...
Something to keep your bellies warm on this hard night of work.
They smile, both of them. They smile warmly, and they say, thank you.
You're welcome.
And they, you know, continue to eat, and they find a spot. The well is sort of also the outside of the well is also kind of a bench. They walk over and they sit down, and they're eating, and looks like they're actually they look like they're in high spirits now.
Is there anyone who looks like severely disdained that they are just out in the public?
Um,
Can I, like, roll perception to see if I see anyone who looks like they're
Roll insight.
Okay. Oh,
Ugh. Well, your passive is 14, so I'm gonna let you use your passive. You notice one person, who's a human, and they don't seem disdainful, but they seem uneasy.
I'd like to walk over to that person. As I'm walking over, I reach into my backpack for a book.
Okay.
How you doing there, sir? So you
Hello?
have an issue with some of your townsfolk?
He blushes, and he says, no, of course not.
Well, here, I'd like to leave this with you. It's helped one of my friends, and I hope to spread the word of equality and acceptance with everyone. And I hand him the book that is How the Elf and the Dwarf Get Along.
Take inspiration. He takes the book and he just kind of blinks at you, and he says, "I don't understand. Why are you giving me this?"
Oh, you see, it's well known that elves and dwarves hate each other. This shows how they can bridge that gap and forget senseless hatred.
I'll be right back.
These two elves are members of your society. They help provide you with food. You should not hate them for what they look like.
You see that it strikes a chord, and he just kind of shrinks a little bit. He pops open the book, and it's nighttime, so it's hard to see. But he kind of like goes
flame.
Okay. He looks at that, and he kind of like, at first he's a little like, now that he can see that you're bright red, he gets kind of jittery at that, and then he kind of reminds himself of what he's in right now, this lesson, and he kind of just like takes the book and he moves it so he can in the angle of the light from the flame, and he just kind of like parses over like the first page, and he closes it, and he kind of just like holds it. He holds it respectfully, and he says, "Yes, I think I should."
Spread the word.
I'll.
Acceptance is the word, by the way.
Sure. He kind of blinks and he rubs the back of his head.
I turn around feeling good about myself. Got off in person.
You feel inspired.
Yeah.
DM inspired. Okay.
I was going to give that book to Dias, or my daughter, but I feel like this person needed it more.
Cool. Anything else, you guys?
I'm good.
Okay. The night passes without incident. And the day break comes. When you wake up, you notice that it's a cloudy day, but it's still a new day. You're in your respective rooms. Your board was free because you saved the frickin' town. What do you do?
Get breakfast.
Absolutely.
I wake up and listen for squealing, first off.
You hear no squealing.
Alright.
Alright. So. Breakfast. Breakfast is a porridge that's kind of like made more savory with stewed goat. Has a weird kind of sweet, savory kind of taste to it.
Is this from me spending the night talking to the cook?
Yeah, he got a little experimental. You know,
I have to take a break really quick.
he found some cinnamon laying around and made this. Found some sugar and he made this weird concoction, and it seems to work.
I appreciate the creativity.
Krat says thank you. So he's cleaning a glass and he says, "So you guys shoving it now?"
Aye, we have some business to take care of. I'm sure we'll be back sooner or later.
He gets this very genuine look on his face, and not genuine look. He gets a very can't think of the right word. You know that he's genuine when he says thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help.
So unfortunately, now we must head back to Forthstride and take care of a friend who is ailing, and then I believe we're heading into the forest to avoid certain death and bury friends dearly departed.
Did Nick's BRB?
I think that was Kitty's.
You there next? She might have BRB too.
Rip.
Hit a 5.
Well then, you know what? Why don't we take a break?
Get your 5. Get your 1.
I think we're just waiting for Justin.
Oh, is Justin still BRB? Okay. Maybe he's pooping. Well, while he's away, let's just do around the table. And how is Illyria feeling right now?
Well, I think she's
still pretty. She still has that pit in her stomach, her body.
Yeah, I'm trying to drink it away.
It's
back.
Well, it's. Oh, you. Why did you say so? Hello.
I just got back.
Ah, okay.
Welcome back.
So Illyria is still sort of not doing too hot.
No, like
It's-
I said, I'm trying to drink it away, so I'm drinking tons right now.
It's morning. Does that change what you're doing? The night passed without incident. I guess you weren't here when I said that.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I wasn't here.
Okay, so the night passes without incident. It's actually, so to re-specify, it's morning now. You guys are, have waken up at your natural awakening, and breakfast was served, and I don't know if you all are down in the bottom floor of the tavern or not.
I'm cool with it. Getting some noms.
Yeah, hum too.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I was talking to the cook guy, so kind of weird if I wasn't down there.
And this is pertinent to Illyria. There's a conversation between Zachriel and Crad, the owner of the Hammer and Tongs, and he asked where you guys are going, and Zachriel said that you're going to head back to Forthstride and then go into the forest.
Ah, yes, yes.
He says, you're going to bury somebody in the forest? You mean Conadir? Like he points southbound. He kind of gives his taken aback look and says, that's dangerous, but I suppose if it's a funeral rite.
Sometimes you just have to put aside danger and do what's right. Especially when it's for a friend.
He nods, puts the glass down.
Also, I've heard that there's quite rare herbs that grow in there, and I'm kind of curious to get some and try them out in some recipes.
He
And
gets
I smile at him.
Yeah, he gets a glint in his eye, and he smiles right back at you, and he says, "If you get an excess, you can bring them my way next time you're in town."
I ask him, well, what else do you know about that forest?
I just know that it's exceedingly dangerous. There's the thick undergrowth and creatures within it, from the stories I've heard from traveling way shields and bards. It looks like that, he's an innkeeper. He knows, what people talk about, but he doesn't really know.
Oh, the taps flow when people speak, so I'm sure you'll hear a lot of things.
That I do. Well, that I will again. Gives you a wink. What do you do?
I look over at Zachariel and winked at Tadias and say, so should we take the ham hock back to Forthstride and get him fixed up?
Oh, honestly, I'm gonna miss this.
I mean, curses fade, but jokes never do.
In 5 days, come say hi to me. I might let you be bacon for a while. How about that? And then I said, all right, fun's over. Let's get going.
Delia wants to find Renwick before we get going.
Okay. You search around a bit. It takes like 10 minutes to find him talking with Renharo and Aspen on the gate. After asking some other guardsmen where the other mage is, and point you that direction. You get up to the top and you see them talking, and Renwick turns around and he says, "Delia, how are you? Are you leaving?"
Yeah, we'll be leaving soon. I was just wondering what you're going to do.
I'm going to help protect Orboro, is what I'm going to do.
Well, is there anything that you need from me, like from the college or anything?
He slowly nods and he says, "You mentioned it, yes. There must be somebody getting those books for me. Maybe you can find out who it is."
I'm on it.
And
then I'll wish him goodbye.
And he says, "I'd also like to see some of your research whenever you have it on your person." He's just talking about like your
the lore books that I'm working on with me.
It's up to you. Do you carry your coursework around with you?
Probably not. So I'll tell him that I'll come back with, some of my books for him
He nods.
at a later date.
Okay. He wishes you goodbye and he says, he goes to take your hand. And he does a thing where he shakes one hand with two. And while he's looking away from Aspen and Renharo, he kind of lets the disguise self on his face drop. Actually, no, he doesn't do that. What he does is he just kind of gets close, and he says, "What you see here is what I looked like in life." He says, "Thank you for all your help, and I'm glad I met you."
Delia blushes.
Then he lets go of your hand, and he gives you a friendly nod, and then he turns to continue talking with Aspen and Renharo, talking about defenses and such.
Alright, I'll go and rejoin the group.
You see Delia walking toward you, everyone else.
Why the big smile?
No
Hum puts her
reason.
arm around her shoulder and says, "Come on, let's go."
Alright. So you guys start walking out of town. People, Derek takes a short minute to say goodbye to you, thanking you and such. So you guys leave and begin to make your way back to Forthstride. The day is kind of cold because of the clouds. Kind of a slow wind picks up around you. You get to hear, you make camp. The night passes without incident, oddly enough. You guys continue. You get past that place that you were at before with the ogres and kobolds. And you pass by, and you can see, if you look carefully, you can sort of see over at a ridge. There's like a sign of one of the bodies of an ogre just kind of slumped over, being picked at by carrion birds.
Do we see any signs of anybody been around?
No, you don't. Oh, wait. Actually, say that question again.
Do we see any signs of somebody being around recently, or is it just look like the last time somebody was here?
So you didn't say that you moved their bodies, so they're kind of just like off of the road a bit, and you know that they've been moved. You can make a survival check if you'd like. You also see like tracks sometimes leading off of the road, and then you remember that they had mentioned that there was a caravan that came through Orborough, and they're probably on their way to Forthstride a day or so ahead of you.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys continue. You get to hear you are graciously left alone as you make camp, set down for the night. So I need to actually track days. So it is now the 16th of Myrtle. The moon is a waxing gibbous. You don't know what that means?
No.
It
I'm not a
means
moon scientist, alright?
it's just phases of the moon. It's when it's more than half. It's more than half, but less than full, and it's growing. That's what gibbous means.
It's the third quarter.
Yeah. And then
So where were camps? Is there like a tree around?
there's brushes and stuff, but there aren't any trees.
Bushes?
There's bushes, and not trees as much as, you know, tall bushes that like they kind of like, yeah, they're kind of like trees. They're tall. They're like, you know, they're about like 6 feet tall, but they don't have like a proper trunk. They have branches like coming out of everywhere instead of a proper trunk. It's that kind of thing.
So, are we 4 days away from a full moon? Is that what that is?
Let me take you
From
let me take you to the calendar page. So you guys left Orborough on the 12th. Forthstride was 4 days away. So fourth. Oh no, wait. No, you left on the 13th. So the 13th. So you left on the 13th, night 1 for 14, or night 1, and then the 14th, and then night 2, 15th. Oh, so it's actually... I might have fudged up. Give me a second.
Oh, fudge.
Yeah. So
Shoot.
13, 14. Okay, so it is now the 15th as you would wake up on that day. So... I don't know.
Now, did we want to deal with the monthly cycle thing before we got to town? Might be smarter that way.
Well, how long is it going to take for whatever you gotta do?
I have no idea.
As you guys are...
Okay.
What do you think, Zachariel? Should we bury him first and then bring him to town?
I mean, it worked out well the first time, but no guarantee that we can hold him. Do we not have time to get to the temple for them to...
You have time. Let me make sure. You have... It takes 2 days from where you are to get to Forthstride. And the full moon... By the time you
It's
get to...
in 2 days.
No, the full moon's in 3 days. I messed up. So the 15th... The eve of the 15th, when you get to... hold on, let me take you to the map. Okay, so... It's the 15th when you guys wake up and you're here. So... The full moon is on the...
17th, right?
No, it's on the 18th. Full moon is on the 18th. So... 16th,
So we'd have like
17th.
one full day essentially to fix me up.
Yep.
I think we have the time to get there. The less time we spend out here in Knoll Country, the better.
If it's a problem, we can always leave town and deal with it, come back.
This is Knoll Country for old men.
No, that has to be the title of the episode. Well, actually, that should have been the title of the big Knoll fight episode. Knoll Country for old men. Okay, well,
Should have played a bird.
speaking of Knolls, you guys get to hear, and you get to that familiar ridge that you fought all those Knolls at before, and as you approach it, or as you clear it, you see this sort of plume of smoke on the other side of it, and when you round the bend, you see a pile of Knoll corpses burning, and planted in them is a way shield flag.
Well, that's good.
I've never seen a more beautiful sight.
You rescued your wife and daughter.
Don't tell them I said that.
Alright, it's fine. But I'm happy someone's doing the work for us. We might be easy walking the rest of the way.
You know, if you all like, you could all be way shields. Quite prestigious. You get a nice badge. Not as nice as mine, but
But do you get to sleep in the mornings?
yeah, I sleep in all the time. Come on, we've been traveling together for like a month. Have I ever not slept in? I also drink whenever I like. I don't have any reporting times. I just take a job and do it.
Me too.
I have to do this or I'm going to get confused. Okay. So you guys make camp near the forest, not near the forest, but as close to the forest as the Shilk Road gets to, and then you continue on. It is the 16th of Myrtle, and you guys get a nice and early start, and with Valora has found some rabbits that you guys made a stew out of, and you got a nice and early start with rabbit stew in your bellies as you making your way back to Forthstride. It is the late afternoon, the sun sort of at your backs, and you guys are on the outskirts of Forthstride now. You see familiar face on patrol, a white dragonborn in scale mail armor, a Marshal Chanzal, with a small contingent of militiamen with him. And you see that they have a cart. And as you get closer, Chanzal sees you, and he recognizes you, and he gives a courteous wave. And as you approach closer, you can see in the cart are hacked apart null bits. And he says, "Welcome back to Forthstride. How are you?"
Preparing a feast?
No. He gestures to the cart, and he says, "The gnolls and the goblins are starting to get rowdy. We've had to put down a few groups of them recently, more than usual. It seems like they're starting to get acting up again. It's not the gnolls as much as the goblins that perplex me. We've chased them down to the Nurthal woods, but their tiny warbands seem to be getting larger and attempting to attack Forthstride. Nothing we can't handle, right, lads?" And the patrol behind him kind of calls out, "Right!" All proud and shit. You look,
About a week ago, how many days ago was it? 4 or 5 days? Has it been? Anyway, about a week ago, when we were heading up to Orbora, we got attacked by a very large Noah warband, and she, and I point at Delia, pretty much incinerated all of them.
I wave.
he says, "Oh, you're a mage."
Sure I am.
He says, "Very good. The militia's been trying to recruit mages into our ranks. We can use the extra firepower. Not many, well, hardly any at all, decide to take on the fighting life, but I don't blame them too much."
Whoa. Marshall. With all due respect, if she's joining anyone, she's going to be a way shield.
He kind of just gives you this sneer kind of smile, and he says, "Well, we'll see about that. But whatever she chooses, I won't falter for it." He kind of winks.
Marshall, isn't your own son a mage?
He is. I have suggested it to him before, but he has been very staunch in his position to remain at school. Of course, I wouldn't ask him, or I wouldn't make him leave. I want my son to do whatever he feels he wants to do in his life.
Good
Right.
point.
Any
Says-
strange elemental activity going on around town, other than goblins, gnolls, orcs?
He says, where'd it go? I wrote these notes down. Where'd they go? Well, shit. He says, it's funny you mentioned that. Elemental Arms is hiring a lot. He says, they're having trouble keeping contract with us, with the militia. I was going to offer you some more whetstones, but we're in short supply. It's making things a little bit more difficult for us. Still nothing we can't handle, but it's nice to have the extra oomph in our strikes.
Yes, a crutch is always good. I just grin at
We
him.
should stop by there while we're here. Something funny I noticed. There were a lot of whetstones with those cultists.
Yes, they didn't seem to be affected Well, more powerful, but not as stable.
You see Chanzal just kind of like stroke his the chin of his dragonborn snout, and he says, "You've been finding them elsewhere, you say?"
Yes. The cultist individuals that attacked the, name of that...
Wall?
No, the...
Are you thinking of Rolid?
No, I'm thinking of, the store where we got the bone engine, and also Ilaria's brother, his work.
He
You
said,
know what?
"Huh?
I don't know what I'm saying.
All right."
That bacon in a couple of days, I'm getting delirious.
I pull out the little mask and the robes that I got from looting them. I kind of show it to the marshal and say, pretty much these cultists, they wear these garbs and they use that.
They wear that mask.
Oh,
That's got
no,
it.
Tadias, the ones that used the stones, they had that armor that disintegrated when you killed them,
Mm-hmm.
made of rocks.
Yes, they did. However, it should be notable that you and your guards can recognize this pattern. It's a silly mask, but if you see someone wearing it, you might want to look out.
He nods. He says, "That's good to know. Thank you for telling me."
They especially like to turn soldiers' troops against them. So, be wary.
Oh, also anyone with a weapon that looks like this, and I take out the shark tooth sword that I have.
He blinks and looks at this thing, and that's quite a vicious-looking weapon.
Very good at, very effective rending unarmored individuals.
I imagine. Unfortunately, all the gnolls always have some sort of hide on them.
Yeah, that's why I use the shovel.
He like looks at the shovel, and then he just kind of furrows his brow a bit, and he says, "Whatever works for you."
Well, we've been doing a lot of work and we're ready for some time off, so if you would, it's been a good meeting you, Marshal. Have a good day.
You too.
And I start walking to town.
He starts walking with his men. You guys follow the path a little bit more, and you end up walking by Zachriel's house. And outside Zachriel's house, you see two children, Cedric and Sihara. And it looks like they're play fighting. Cedric looks like he has a small little notebook in his hand and a small stick. And Sihara has a bigger stick that she looks like she's wielding as a sword. And as you approach closer, you hear Cedric call out, "Fireball!"
Do we see Dante anywhere?
Yeah, Dante is around them, barking. Looks like tail wagging like crazy.
I whistle really loudly.
Yeah, you get, and when you get closer and you whistle, Dante just freezes, looks in your direction, just bolts toward you. Make a strength saving throw. He knocks you prone and just starts licking your face like a happy dog.
I start rolling around with him and giggling. Call him good boy. Ask him if everybody's safe.
Woof! Like an affirmative barf. Bark. And Sihara sees Zachriel, and she drops the thing and just runs at him and wraps her arms around his legs and says, "Daddy!"
I pick her up. No, that's very foolish. You should never drop your weapon when you're in combat.
She giggles. hugs you tight, nuzzles into your shoulder.
Also, next time he tries to cast a fireball at you, just kick some dirt in his eyes and tackle him to the ground.
Cedric just kind of like is walking up, and he says,
Oh, hello, Cedric.
he doesn't. He like you said that silent or softly enough to where he didn't hear it, but he's just walking up and he waves hello.
You two look like you're getting along.
Sierra says, "Yeah, Cedric's my best friend."
That's good.
She says, Mom, got some builders in from the city, and they're gonna make the house bigger.
Oh. So we're one big happy family.
She beams when you say that, and she just giggles and just plants her face like against your chest.
I hear I hear him say like family, and I just kind of
Oof.
walk away a bit.
Of course, we're going to need to build much bigger, and we're going to need a barn area, because I have a sneaking suspicion we may have a pig soon.
Is Tadias just walking into town now? Did he just leave the party?
I was standing there.
Okay.
I'm not actually close enough to listen to this, thankfully.
Oh, I said that out loud. I wanted you to
Yes.
hear that as like a final dig.
A very dangerous one that might rend your father's flesh from his bone.
Ooh, scary.
Never gonna happen.
You haven't seen this pig porker, he's very dangerous.
So, Sierra, like, when you do mention, like, pig, like, rending, she kind of, like, shrinks and kind of, like, goes silent.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Bad Tadias. Bad.
I do like a... and I just start walking to town.
Oh, man, she, like-
Sorry.
She, Sierra just, like, cowers into your arms, and, she just kind of silently says, that won't happen, will it?
No, he's just a little bitter that I've been making fun of him relentlessly.
I walked like 3 days non-stop to not be around them for this, and you just gotta...
Okay. So
Trust me, he's perfectly fine, yeah.
she nods, looks up at you. She just does. She's like firmly. She firmly has her arms like around your neck, and she's like doing that thing that kids do, where they lean their heads, on your shoulder. She does not want. She doesn't seem like she's gonna let go anytime soon, on her own accord.
Well, you're all welcome to come in, or I can meet you back in town. I feel like this one's not gonna let me leave.
I feel like we should bring Tadias to where he needs to go.
I agree.
You go hug your family. Enjoy your time.
Well, come here then.
You're not gonna lick me, are you?
We'll see. I lift her up and hug her.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I hug him back. And I kiss Sihara on her cheek.
She giggles. She wasn't expecting that. So, what are you guys doing? Who's going where?
I walked a little bit, but now I'm standing in the road waiting for them to start heading into town.
I'm following Tadias.
I was already heading.
And Hum looks back and she says, "We'll send Nathan if something happens, right?
Right.
Let's get going. I'm tired of being a snack.
Snack,
so
you're a whole
delicious.
meal.
All right. You, not to drag the happy family scene on too long, Zachariah, you walk in and you meet up with Floriana, who gives you a very big scolding for not saying goodbye. I mean, like, she lets you have it, and you can see that, like, you can see that Cedric's father, whose name is you can see Ephraim sitting, like, in the sort of living space, and he you can see on his face, like, he feels what you're feeling right now, and Silri, his wife, is just kind of, like, staring, and, like, this sort of, like, yeah, you tell him kind of look on her face.
I put my finger up against her lips and I said, I'm sorry, darling, but you know how I am. I don't like to say goodbyes. They're too final.
You're gonna need to roll. You're gonna need to roll. You're gonna need to roll for that. You're gonna need to roll for that. I'm not letting you get away with that without a roll. Any kind of charisma check you want, except intimidation.
What? I can't intimidate my wife? What the fuck?
Well, what you just did was not intimidation.
Yeah.
About that.
She takes your wrist. She, like, puts your hand down, and she's just. You didn't roll low enough for a slap. She does
the whatever thing.
She makes that sigh, and then she just turns around and walks out of the room. She does a march. She just turns around and walks out of the room. And Ephraim, just, like, when you did the thing where you put your hand or your finger to her lips, like, he cringed, like, this is not gonna go well, and it did not. So we'll leave Zachariel to deal with that. The rest of you, let me take you to the Forthstride map, because we're there again.
Been a while.
It's been a while. Okay, so you guys are coming in from over here. And what the fudge? What? Why can't I select your token? Oh, I know why. Because I'm on the wrong screen. So you guys are coming in from that side. And sure enough, from what Marshal Chanzal had been saying, when you guys get to the guard station in the front, you do in fact see postings for job openings at Elemental Arms. And guards people say hi to you and such as you enter the town. Tadias, you know that the temple is over in this area.
To begin heading that way.
Okay. So is everyone, the others, are you going with him?
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
So what are we gonna spend all this gold on?
Well, the first thing we're gonna do is get you better.
I know, but that already.
Then we'll talk about spending gold.
I just want to skip right to dessert. I'm done with being pork. And I believe it was like right around here, if I remember correctly, somewhere around here.
It's I need to mark them, but I'm pretty sure it's this guy. You guys are in the Temple District. You're good enough. So, you guys enter the Temple of the Four Quorum, which is four different gods that are all sort of related to each other in sort of the background, the religion background. You specifically go to the chapel that is devoted to Helm, the god of protection. you enter, and you recognize right away, Tadias, the cleric that you spoke with. Fraddirk is, let's see, it's the evening. So he's just sort of going over scripture in the chapel, and he looks up and he sees you, and he says, "Oh, Tadias, did you find that gem?"
Yeah. At least this hopefully will work for you. I hand him the yellow diamond.
He inspects it, and then you see him sort of flip through some scripture, and he looks at it, looks at the gem, and then he takes it in his hands and closes his eyes, and he has an amulet with a holy symbol, and he kind of takes that in his hands with the gem, and he kind of just closes his eyes, looks up, and just sort of says some words, and the language. Do any of you speak Celestial?
I do.
So you recognize he's whispering a short prayer, and then he's asking a question. It sounds a lot better in Celestial, but the rough translation is this the right thing? And a few seconds pass, and then he lowers his head to look straight onto you, Tadias, and he says, "This is the one." He says, "Are you ready?"
How long will it take?
Well, he says, it won't take more than 10 minutes, but it may be harrowing.
I start taking off all my weapons just in case, and I kind of walk over to him and say, "All right."
He says,
Started.
"Go ahead and have a seat. We don't need to be in a special altar or anything for this." Don't forget your boot knife. So you sit at a pew, and Frederick sits next to you, and oh, where did it go? Oh, my music disappeared. That's a shame. All right, well, so Tadias, Golden. Actually, let me make sure of something. Okay. Golden light surrounds you. You feel divine power channel through you. And then you hear Frederick's voice. Lad, Tadias, can you hear me? And you hear it fades, and you can't answer him. That bestial urge that had been buried in your heart the past 10 days surges forth, invading your mind, but it's tangible. In your mind's eye, before you, this is the bestial rage and hunger that has been forcefully infused into your soul. And you feel that it's separate, yet it charges toward you, eager to corrupt you again. But in this moment, with the assistance of the divine, you can expel it. Roll initiative.
Okay. I'll find a secret piggy to do it.
I'll drag a token onto the page for you.
You just handle into it.
Okay. Alright, it acts first. Tadias, you have, in your mind's eye, in this sort of mindscape you're in, you don't have any armor, you do not have any weapons. It's just you. And your fists. So he charges at you, and you sort of get your hands out to intercept it, and first he's going to try to attack you. A couple times. 15. So that's going to be 10 slashing.
Okay.
Then he does it again. 20.
Yeah.
For 6 slashing. What do you do?
All right. Let's start with I'm gonna try to knock him prone.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna grab the tusk and just rip him down to the ground and try to hold him
Alright.
there.
Holy shit, he rolled a crit on that.
So let's do it again.
Are we supposed to see that, Mike?
You are. This is flavor.
Okay.
But, and as this is going on, you do not succeed. Did you use both your attacks for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as this is going on, you see Tadai sitting in that pew, and, like, you see that he's starting to sweat. And he's starting to tremble. And you can tell that there's something going on inside of him. And, Federic kind of looks at everyone on the outside, and he says, right now he's fighting against the curse.
Should we chain him up?
Is there any way to help?
Well, he won't come back, as I've done some reading, and he won't turn, but if he isn't able to fight it off, we'll have to do this process all over again. He says he looks like he's focused on this as he's talking to you. He says...
Can he hear us at all?
He says, only one way to find out.
I go up to him and whisper in his ear, I believe in you.
Tadias, you feel a little bit better. Does anybody else want to do something?
I want to hold his hand.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get on the other side and hold his other hand and say, "You can do it, Tadias. Beat this asshole."
Alright. Back into it. He's gonna try to rend you with his tusks. 12.
Can I use shield right now? I don't have an arcane focus.
No, but your AC is 13, no?
No, I have 0 dex.
You have canny dodge.
Oh, that works without it. That's true. All right, yeah, that's safe.
Alright, he's gonna try again. 17
It's
for 11.
oof.
What do you do?
I am going to try to play smart. I'm using my action to grow wings.
Alright,
Use my bonus action to fly up just as fast as I can.
okay. So, with that, he starts to charge you again. It seems that this sort of mindscape, walls don't matter, but he doesn't have enough movement to get to you. Or he doesn't have enough movement to get to you and attack, so he dashes at you and he's right in your face. It is your turn again.
Alright, let's just start punching this piggy in the face.
Alright.
Let's see. Wow.
That's a hit. 6
And
plus,
6 damage.
so 12. So you rear back and you slam into this thing, and you see the divine light from your hand kind of coalesce and sort of break apart his form a little bit. It was a good hit.
As a bonus action, I'd like to try to grapple him now.
Alright. Ooh. There's no way that he can avoid that. He rolls a 1 too, so he's grappled.
And then I'm gonna punch him as I'm like dragging him, start to fly down with him, trying to like pile drive him right into the ground at the same time.
Alright.
So one more hit. Ah,
That's a hit.
so
9.
9 damage.
Alright, so at this point you can see like the light and the sort of the weird blood kind of like filling your vision as this thing starts to break apart as you bring it down. It's going to try to attack you again. Now it rolls a 1. And then an 18
It hits.
for 6 slashing. It is your turn.
Alright, so as I've flown down with it, is it kind of like back at the ground again?
Oh shit. Yes.
Alright, well then I'm going to try to knock it down while I have it gripped.
Okay. Alright, yeah. It is proned.
Alright, while it's prone, I'm just gonna headbutt the shit out. I will not be called bacon again!
You guys hear that from outside too. He just kind of says that. So roll damage.
Alright.
6 plus 6 is 12.
6.
Alright. With everything I've told you, do you want to describe killing this thing?
I just want to like hold the tusk down and just keep headbutting until I see it start to break up into that divine energy. And then just one pull of my arms, I want to just smash and pull his tusk apart and rip it in two.
And it sort of just disappears. And you kind of feel your vision clears. And that sort of anger and bestial rage and hunger is gone. And you see Frederick there, and did it work?
How do I look?
You see
You look like
all.
shit, but that's not any different.
Do I smell different?
Maybe a little sweaty.
Thing was.
A lot less bacony.
Thank you, sir.
He says, "You're quite welcome, my son." And he pats your shoulder. And then he lets his hand open, and you see, like, the gem that was there is now just dust. This sort of yellow dust.
I look at him and say, "Are we sure this worked?"
He says, "Well, when the full moon rises again, you can give it a shot." He looks pretty confident.
I'm just kind of looking at my hands.
I'm still holding his hand.
There's, you see Delia's hand in yours.
There's a gnome on each side.
There's a gnome on each side.
Was this part of the thing that they need to hold my hands like this?
No, but you were sweating and trembling.
No. I have good friends.
Oh shit. The rip sheets.
Well, can't all about you about me. Let's go spend some gold. I need a drink.
I was gonna say that too.
So at this point, it is late. So what? Where do you, it's sundown by now. At this point, you're aware that shops are mostly closed.
Well, I know two places that aren't.
I do too.
Do
Do you want to go see Ma, or do you want to go and get something to...
Well, I haven't introduced Delia to them, have I?
I do not believe so. Delia, have you met his parents?
I have not.
His
Well,
mom is a wonderful...
Yes, she's very loving. But how do you feel about making some poor decisions?
That's like my motto.
Well, you're going to like the place then. Follow me.
Yeah, you've heard about poor decisions. You probably might have gone there yourself once or twice. It's not that it's pretty well known at Aldax.
Okay.
College kids doing the cramming. Need some alcohol.
Yeah. All right. So, what is that girl doing?
Probably just cleaning up the house and trying to avoid the ire. Mumbling under his breath at the other guy why he didn't help.
Like you meet up with Efren, and he's just like, "Hey man, I'm not gonna get between a man and his wife."
Yeah, thanks for having my back. But you to live in my home. You fucking-
he feels bad and he starts to help you, and he's just like, I mean, you made the decision of leaving without telling her.
Yeah, listen. You're right. She knew I was leaving. Someone's got to put food on the table.
He says, he says, true enough, but that whole, and then he puts like his finger out to, gesture that whole.
All right. Listen. She only pretended like she didn't like it. That's my charm. She knows I mean it.
Wow.
Ephraim, he's just. Ephraim,
Tell me
Next
Efren
time.
is like rolling at this point, right?
I
he's.
think next time, instead of doing that, I'll just hug her. It might work out better, right?
He says, that'll probably work a lot better.
All right. You know what, Ephraim? Thank you. I'm a little frustrated about this current situation.
He says, don't worry, she'll. And he like gets close. He says she'll get over it eventually.
Well, she's gonna have to, because I have to leave again pretty soon. So
He cringes when you say that. He says, just make sure you say see you later or something.
but I really feel like goodbyes are too final. Like, I say goodbye and then I don't come back.
Well, don't say goodbye. Say I'll see you later. I'll be back.
Going to the store for some milk and eggs.
Gonna go get a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly. So, is Zachary planning on being there the evening?
Yeah, he stays. He's
Okay. So, I feel like, yeah. So, Sihara is definitely asking, like, about your adventures. Like, she, like, in the evening, you're sitting by the fire, in the hearth, and she sits on your lap, and she's like, so what happened?
well. We came across a town
All right, and
that
then,
was being controlled, and overthrew the controllers and killed all the bad guys and saved the townsfolk. And then I stopped the man from being a bigot. And that's the most important lesson there, Sierra. Do not let people discriminate other people just on looks alone. Never do that.
her and Cedric are staring at you starry-eyed. And you see Floriana. She looks like she's still kind of disgruntled, but when you talk about that, you can see that it's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just continue hyping that up.
She looks impressed with that.
And always listen to your mother.
And always listen to your mother. She is beautiful and wise beyond belief. And sometimes your dad can be an idiot. Forget small things that maybe
She's just
flow over his.
she's pursing her lips and just nodding. And you can see Searly, she's nodding too. Ephraim's wife. So we'll cut over to the rest of the party. You guys are going to a tavern, yes?
Yeah, we're doing
Yes.
some poor decisions.
All right, you guys enter
Yes.
poor decisions.
I'm gonna be walking the streets.
Okay. Just staying out in the night air, looking at the stars, kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay. You see Illyria not going to poor decisions. Does anybody say anything?
I look back and I say, come on, Illyria. Best thing you can do is be around people.
Oh no, you guys go have fun.
Let
I
that
got
happen.
some big things coming up, so I just need time to think.
You know where to find us. You can always tell us anything. But for right now, I definitely need the drinks, so I start walking into the bar.
All right, so you walk into the bar and you see your mother cleaning a just sort of swabbing the bar. She sees you. Her eyes
And
go.
I whisper over to Delia, watch this.
She leaps over the bar and just runs at you, and like just slams into your like chest. And she says, "Where have you been? Where have you been? We've been so worried."
I was dealing with cultists. He's, something I had to do. I've also been baking for a while. Don't ask them about it. But anyway, how are you? It looks like the place is a little fixed up since last.
Yeah, indeed, it is fixed up. There's new construction, new woodwork in certain areas, and she says, well, yes, we've gotten a new connection to the sewers, and all is well, and that way. And your dad comes out, and he just he gives you a look from across the room, of like, you made your mother worry. How dare you?
Hum is just giggling. His mom
Anyway,
fussing over him.
I have some friends with me, as you can see, and they are in need of drinks, so let's do what we do best here.
Coming up! And they serve you 3 mugs of very decent ale.
Delia
Hum
down.
takes to dice his mom heartily and then downs it too.
All right. So, what do you guys? What's your plan? Are you're just gonna booze this evening?
Yep.
Okay. Are you? Where is where is Hum ending up?
Hum is gonna crawl back to her place once she's had a few drinks with the two.
Okay.
I invite Delia to come stay the night with me if she'd like.
Delia, you have a place. You have like a dorm, in Aldak, near Aldak's
Yeah.
academy.
How far of a walk is it though?
Well, the taverns are. Oh no! Crap. 1 second.
And the
I just- DM just got logged out.
yeah, they're right around this area, so your dorm is probably there, I guess.
So that's the school proper, but nearby there's also a lot of student housing.
So not too far, a couple blocks.
I think I will. I'm gonna tell him the things that I need to grab from my dorm, but next time.
You know where to find me.
And then Delia will go back to wherever she's living.
All right. So
After doing some drinking, I'm gonna kind of walk the streets and take a look at the moon.
all right. The moon. Let me track the time again. And let me actually. And then. That. So it is the eve of. It was the eve of the 16th, so it's past half. So it's waxing. It's a waxing gibbous. The next day is going to be the 17th. If I got that right. I'm sure.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So, can get rid of those numbers. So Hum, when you walk into when you walk into Twiddles and Fiddles, after having a few with your buddies, the night is starting to wind down. People are starting to go home. Gizo is at the bar cleaning. Says, "Oh, how are you doing? Been a while since you've been here.
It's been
A few days,
lately.
many days."
Many days. How are things around here?
He says, "Things have been fine. People have the construction's done in most of the buildings that got hurt with or that got wrecked with the water elemental issue, and business has been good as usual. Some strange, well, I wouldn't say strange. There's an interesting character that's been floating around the musical taverns."
Oh, yeah?
And says,
Tell me a little bit about him.
says, "Yeah, it was, I know that you've had your eyes set on the Stone Giant stage, but this half-elf woman, she blew him away, from what I hear. And,
What do you mean?
well, she performed and just got a massive round of applause, and she came from nowhere. No one knew of her before, and she just blew through town, performed at a tavern every night, and blew the audience away. But she was also advertising something."
What was she advertising?
She says, "Do you know the hills south of the Conadir Forest?" You can roll history if you want.
Mm,
You remember a story from a way shield that you not Zachriel, but a way shield that you shared around with after performance, just to shoot the shit, and she talked about a that the
I didn't say anything.
Okay. She talked about the hill south of the Conadir Forest and how they're really dry. They don't see much rain in comparison to the rest of the region, and that it's always really there's lots of dead vegetation around, and that it's just oddly not no moisture, even though the forest is right northward. You just know that the climate there is strange, but that's all you know. He asked you, like, do you know of those hills? And then you answered.
I know a little bit about them, mostly, about how dry they are and how it's... What about it?
Says, well, she came talking about how there's some sort of haze over them now, and she spread the word of this rite, this rite that would be performed by a druid that would bring the rains back. A lot of people listened to her, and as far as I know, some people ended up following her. It's just such a strange... to me, it's strange because no one talks about those hills. They're just dry.
What did she look like? What was she wearing?
He says, well, she was wearing similar to what you wear, leather armor to travel in and keep her safe, and she had a viol, V-I-O-L, viol, that the stringed instrument that looks like a violin, and she has she has dark hair, and she put some sort of dye in it to give red color. at the ends. Half-elven woman.
Any antenna marks or insignias?
Strokes his chin. Now that you mention it, I did notice something. And he goes under the bar and he gets a small sheet of paper and he draws on it. I'll just put a little thing up here. That white square is the little piece of parchment. And he draws... Says it looks something like this. There's more to it, but it looked like a half circle facing down. I can't remember exactly what else there was. I just remember the half circle.
When's the last time we've seen her around here?
Well, she came into Twiddles and Fiddles about 3 days ago.
Have you heard about her in town anywhere else?
Well, like I said, she's been through most of the musical taverns. She seems to have a handle on lots of different styles of music.
Does she seem to have a big following?
Says, well, I have heard that some people did end up heading in that direction. First to Tomarer. That's the closest city between here and, or that's the town between here and the hills. Other than that, I'm not sure.
Well, thanks for letting me know, Giza. I'm sure that after my adventures, I'll come back and I'll smoke her.
He smiles. He says, I'm sure you will.
I'm curious, would Tadias still be at the bar drinking, or did he go to bed?
Only one way to find out.
I'm going to be back in just a little while, Gizo. I'm going to walk over to Four Decisions for just a couple minutes.
He says, it's alright, I'm going to be, I'll leave the door open for you. Unlocked.
Thank you, sir. I wander over to Poor Decisions and see if the door is still open.
Yeah, it's still open. Things are winding down. There's like 2 patrons left. As Tadias is probably either on the floor or on a stool, because it's more like a communal sleeping space, right, Tadias?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find him easily.
I lean over to him and poke him a little bit and say, "Are you sober enough to hear something?"
No, I sober enough for a friend. Gonna sit up, pat the ground next to me. Well,
I told a story about the elven woman going through, and I ask him what his knowledge of the Conadier Forest is, or the hill south of the Conadier Forest is.
what do I know?
Roll history.
History. This button.
Not much other than you have been on actually you haven't even really been on a dig there's very little actually there. You have visited a certain site there once. It was just this random sort of it seemed like it was an unkempt shrine, but that's all that you were able to find there. At least
And
it was a very cursory archaeological look around.
I'm not quite certain what's there, but there didn't seem to be much the time me and Dimitri went. Why do
So
you ask?
I explained to Dias my knowledge of the hills there with strange climate and very little moisture, and then I tell him about the woman going through town and the whole story, and see, it sounds strangely cultish, doesn't it?
I mean, perhaps we're a little more sensitive because we've been dealing with cults so often, but it doesn't give me the best of feelings, no. Perhaps we can bring this to the attention of everyone else. If they feel the same, maybe we'll investigate.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just have this hinky feeling down in the pit of my stomach.
Well, you should trust us. You hated the Karen lady anyway.
Oh, you mean Lydia?
Linda?
Susie?
Stacy, that was it, right?
Tammy. It was Tammy.
Tammy! Alright, Tammy.
I'm going to bed.
Alright, enjoy your sleep.
I will try to sleep. Good night, sir.
Night, Tammy.
Alright, so it's going to be near the end of the session, but close out the evening. What give me a little description of what Cinna's sleeping space is like. Not Cinna, Jesus, Dahlia.
Well, she's got a big fluffy bed, and there's just pages and pages of like notes and stuff all over her desk and floor, and she's got a big old bookcase, and then a chest at the end of her bed with just like scrap fabric and extra books and like ink and quills, and like a junk chest at the foot of her bed.
Awesome. Where does Illyria end up?
Just by this pond, I guess.
Is she going to just hang out there all night?
Yep.
Okay. So you head over to what's sort of a park area. Yeah, you settle down near the edge of the pond, and Valora kind of wraps around you to keep you warm. It's kind of a chilly night, and you just stare at the water as it's sort of reflecting the pale and dim moonlight. Okay. Zachariel.
Yep.
You are in bed with your
Is he
wife.
sleeping
Am I
with
in
Dante
bed or
or
am I in
his
Dante's
wife?
doghouse?
You're not. No. In fact, you kind of had that feeling, and Floriana takes your hand and she says, "Come on to bed."
Yes, ma'am.
She just kind of sighs, and you guys get comfortable, and she just lays against you, and she quietly says, "Big goof."
Yes, that's me.
You
You should
can
be happy.
you can tell. You can
Maybe
tell
the dollar
right before you said that. You can tell that she was over it, and she's just glad that you're back. But then when you said you should be happy, she just gives you this firm poke in your chest, and she says, "I am happy," and then just kind of wraps her arms around you and starts to drift off.
I just kind of stroke her hair until she falls asleep, and I look over to the side of the bed where I have Suni put, and I'm like, ugh. What does it all mean? Cry falls.
Alright, and that is where we will end today's session. So thanks for joining us, Joy.
I still
Did
don't
you
know
talk
what mango is.
Sure, why not? I mean, I'm still recording, but it doesn't matter, because it's the end of the session.
Let the joy talk.
Oh, shit!
What
Wait,
this
did I-
mango is.
Meh. There, you're not muted. You're not server
Or
muted.
does she have her own?
She has her own mute on. Maybe she went AFK. Oh, she said 1 sec. Alright, well, I'm going to... Well, if you want to be immortalized on YouTube...
Hurry, Joy, so you can be immortalized on YouTube.
with all the other videos that historians will find in, like, the next century.
Those poor historians.
Thanks for joining us, Joy.
Oh, fun.
Alright. I will stop recording now. Goodbye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.